isinailalim pong muli sa MECQ ang Bacolod City simula noong September 8 dahil po sa patuloy na pagtaas ng kaso doon at para po pag-usapan ang mga ginagawang hakbang ng lokal na pamahalaan ng lungsod para po labanan ng COVID-19, makakausap po natin si Bacolod City Mayor Evelio Leonardia. Good morning po, Mayor.
Good morning, Yusek Raki. Good morning, Secretary Martin. Yes, good morning, Philippines.
Opo. Sir, ano na po muna yung update tungkol po sa COVID cases sa Bacolod City at kumusta na po yung pagpapatupad po ng MECQ sa inyong syudad?
Maybe we should start by my report that as of yesterday, we already have 2,221 cases. And recoveries is as much as 1,054. And active is 1,124. So it's practically a 50-50 situation, although largely because these are new cases. Because if you go back to our history, since March, we were having a very peaceful time here, so to speak. March, April, May, June. May, for example, we only had about 1 or 2 cases for the whole month. But all of a sudden, at the end of July, things just changed so drastically, and we found ourselves in the midst of these numbers. So we feel that it all started because with the entry of the LSIs and RFWs, maybe that's when we started to catch fire. But the thing is, as soon as it hit our thickly populated areas and workplaces, then the exponential nature of COVID once again showed its ugly face, and that is where we are now. Nevertheless, we are happy that President Rudy Duterte and Senator Bongo responded to our plea for help very, very quickly. And Secretary Roy Simato himself came to Bacolod. Then with the Presidential Assistant for the Visayas, Secretary Mike Dino. Then he came with General Mel Feliciano and his wife, Mia, and she's a separate story by himself. I can talk about him more lengthily later. And of course, Secretary Charlie Galvez has been very concerned and has been very attentive to us. And it was no less than Executive Secretary Mijaldia who broke the news to me when he called that this team was coming. Now, what has changed the picture for us is these people coming here because with their reputation, because we know that this is exactly the same team that went to Cebu at the height of the crisis. And we know here in Bacolod that they were a success story in Cebu. I was informed that when they went to Cebu, Cebu was in that situation where they were having as much as 350 cases in a day, that high. But when they left, and by now, Cebu is just having that low single-digit case index. So even last night, we had a long meeting with our barangay captains together with General Mel Feliciano. And it has been emphasized to the barangays, especially so that it was Secretary Roy Simato himself who started to make it very, very clear to all of us that the fight now is in the barangays. And we feel that with their guidance, a lot can be done here. Like, for example, because of the recommendation of General Mel Feliciano, we created the new Bacolod Emergency Operations Center, which integrated, collated, and coordinated all our bodies that are involved in this COVID fight. And because of that, we feel that in terms of data management, telemed, logistics, and extraction, and I will go to the point to the subject matter of contact tracing in a little bit. uh, it has changed the complexion. We're happy that General Feliciano is happy here with the way things are moving and the way things are progressing. But of course, he was quite optimistic, but I believe should be some kind of a guarded optimism situation because, of course, when General Feliciano last night was explaining to us that this could happen and this could happen, and he was quite optimistic about the situation in Bacolod. We told the barangay captains, of course, themselves, of course, that that can happen if we all work together. So overall, we are being guided by these experts, these experienced people, and we are amazed with with the dedication and commitment that General Feliciano has given to us. Because every day he crisscrosses Iloilo and Bacolod. He would have
Yes.
his lunch here, go to Iloilo overnight, then come back to Bacolod the following day. And he has been doing that for 2 weeks now. And we're happy that he's happy with what is happening also in Bacolod. So we know that we're facing probably our biggest challenge ever as a city. And yes, we talk about our resiliency as a people, but this is quite a very, very big concern. But we brace ourselves that while we will probably have to face the storm, we know that in the end, uh, resilient that we will survive this. And we're just happy and we're inspired that the national government, no less the president, Senator Bongo, and ES Media had been very supportive. And if we can work together, and with their guidance and with their support, we feel that we have a good chance of beating COVID-19.
Opo, Mayor, you said that yung one of yung major causes po ng pagtaas ng COVID sa lungsod is yung pagdating po ng LSI. So, ano po yung measures na ginawa ng inyong lungsod para po maiwasan po ang pagtaas pa?
Well, right now, we are concentrating on contact tracing. And may I share it with the public that no less than the contact tracing czar of the Philippines came here, Mayor Benji Magalong. He talked to those contact tracers who went into a seminar with the people or the personnel of General Mel Feliciano. About 200 of them started that seminar, and according to Mayor Benji, the ideal ratio should be 1:8, or every 800 people in Bacolod there should be one, and that is 787. We've even gotten a number bigger than that, but of course we admit that we must still continue to train so many of them. But what is also very, what we'd like to appreciate about the efforts of the team that the President has sent out is that Mayor Benji Magalong, after the seminar with the contact tracer, even sat down with us, the city officials, and our meeting and with a lecture from him lasted even beyond midnight the other day. So with a more efficient contact tracing system, and Benji was happy that what he saw before and what he saw now is an improvement. We hope that we will be able to identify where is the virus, and consequently we will be able to contain it, because we had in fact a mass testing we did about a week ago, which were really projects of Congressman Benitez and Governor Bong Lacson, and we were able to swab 4,384 of our people, and with a prevalence rate of 12.11%, it meant that 531 were discovered positive. So if you look at our figures of 2,221 now, practically one-fourth of that is a product of that mass testing. So, of course, people are debating about it, whether that was the right strategy or not. But we believe that it's better. We're better off if we know who they are and where they are than having allowed these people to be roaming around the city and
Yes.
doing that harm and damage to all of us. So
Yes.
we feel that this is a major consideration, and coupled with our concentration on the barangays, we hope to catch up. Of course, as I said, given that this team of Gerald Feliciano was a success in Cebu, we are quite optimistic that if we can somehow follow most of them, if not all, because of course not everything will be applied. There's what is not a formula that is exactly the same in every place. So we feel that we have a better chance of fighting this now.
Okay. Mayor, alam naman po natin na biglaan po daw yung pagpapatupad ng MECQ sa Bacolod City and allegedly hindi daw po nakapaghanda yung mga residente sa 3-week
Well,
lockdown. So, how did you address this, Mayor?
okay. Actually, for quite some time, the doctors, particularly the infectious disease doctors in Bacolod, had been asking for what they call a timeout. Some of them were asking for ECQ, and it went up to the level of the president and the IATF. Some of them were asking for MECQ. And so as a result of a series of meetings we had, long meetings at that, there were meetings that lasted 5, 6, 7 hours, together with not only our city officials, but the church leaders, our business community, our malls, so on. We had already decided beforehand that we should institute our own, should we call our own local initiatives to strengthen our restrictions. And uh, before that proclamation came, we were able to pass an ordinance in Bacolod that instituted the HQP, or the home quarantine system. Now, and the other one is the border control. Now, the home quarantine system is patterned after that HQP system we had when we had ECQ. But to further substantially cut the number of people around the city, uh, the rule is we will only allow one in every household. And not only that, we are also having that odd even scheme, which means that if your number ends with which is odd, then you can only leave your residence Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you're even, then you are allowed Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and every Sunday. We call it a lockdown Sunday. We've had we had lockdown Sundays before, especially during the ECQ times. And every time we hold lockdown Sunday, it's really a Bacolod is turned into a ghost town. And even last Sunday again, we did it, and people cooperated. So with the support and cooperation of people, of course, we know that we still have to continue to intensify this. And in fact, this is one of the subject matters we thoroughly discussed last night together with the barangay captains. Is what police presence, or even the presence of the army, because we feel that we still have to tighten the implementation of our minimal health protocols. Although, for the record, our PNP, local PNP, since we started with curfew, face masks, and social distancing and all this, which incidentally had become already had become are now in the form of ordinances. The police office in Bacolod had already apprehended about 18,000. And according to Chief of our City Director, Colonel Henry Binyas, the trend is that it's getting, the numbers are getting lower and lower, and that means more and more people now are complying with our minimal health standards.
Opo, Mayor, we understand na isa daw po sa critical na kalagayan ng lungsod yung estado po ng healthcare facilities. So, kumusta na po ang sitwasyon dito ngayon?
Okay, may I just go back a little bit to your question? I forgot to say that actually in this particular case, we were used to that system where we were being informed about our quarantine status on a 15-day basis. But this one was different. We were told that we will be under PCQ only last September 7, and it was late in the evening when we learned about that. So quite naturally, people were surprised. Some people were confused, and there was some degree of inconvenience. But of course, the police was somehow realistic and more understanding during the first day. But after that, then we were more strict in the regulations to implement MPCQ. So that is how it is now. Now, going to the facilities. In Bacolod, we have 1,276 beds in 7 hospitals, and out of that, 246 has been allotted for COVID cases. But while we have 246 for COVID cases, only about 131 of that are being used. Not because we lack rooms, but more so because we lack the health workers. Like in many other places here in the country today, a number of our health workers are under quarantine because they've been infected. Then a number of them had resigned, a number of them went on a wall, and we've had those experiences where we were trying to recruit health workers, and we had an initial yes, but later they changed their minds because they don't want to endanger their families, and so on and so forth. That is why we ask also for support. And incidentally, the Central Command of the Visayas, headed by General Robert Ancan, had sent us an initial batch of 12 health workers coming from the Philippine Army. And we have that arrangement with Secretary Charlie Galvez that if the budget coming from Bayanihan 2 is in place, we were asking that we be given some priority insofar as the distribution of this, personnel that may be hired by the national government. Kung pwede, mabigyan kami ng enough to answer the situation here, which, as I said, is not as much as the question of the number of beds, but is more of the issue of having to have more or having to have enough health workers to run the facilities that we have.
Okay, Mayor, kunin ko na lang po. Do you have a message po sa iyong mga kababayan sa Bacolod City?
Well, first, thank you once again sa inyo ni Secretary Martin and for giving me this chance to connect with our people, especially those who are not here and could not come here, because in fact we have a pending request to the IATF, and they had granted it that we should have a moratorium on the acceptance of the LSIs, because we want our quarantine and isolation facilities to be cleared up. And when after a week or two, we believe that we will have more space for them and we can normalize. So our people are aware by now that we are facing our greatest challenge ever. I believe that in this century, when the history books are written, this will be among the highlights of what happened in this century. And Bacolod and our area here had gone through many crises in the past. We had sugar crisis, we had tragedies. But even if you come to think about it, even our Mascara Festival is a product of our resiliency as a people. So we believe that all this will also pass. This is serious. This is heavy for us, but we feel that in the end we will survive this and we will somehow cross the tunnel. With the presence of the team that the president sent to us, we feel that we have seen the light at the end of the tunnel. But of course, it's a question of when do we get there. But we're pretty sure that we're moving towards it, and we would continuously ask for the support of and the aid of the national government. We would like again to thank President Duterte, Senator Bongo, and Secretary Leonardia, Secretary Charlie Galvez, Secretary Roy Simato, Secretary Mike Dino, General Feliciano and his wife, who had dedicated, who are that amazing, and they have been a source of inspiration for us, and we believe in them because, well, they have their credentials. They are a success story in Cebu, and we feel that we will also have a good chance of succeeding here. And in the end, the people of Bacolod will always be resilient, and we know in the end we will survive.
Yes. Okay, maraming salamat po, Bacolod City Mayor Evelio Leonardia. Stay safe, Mayor.
Same to you, Isaac Rocky, and also Secretary Martin. Please stay safe. Mayong aga sa inyo. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning po.